You know I've traveled near and far to see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places and people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Cakefield. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Well, good evening. We'll call the Monday, August 26, 2019 Fayetteville City Council meeting to order. At this time, we'd ask that Rabbi Goldberg, if he would come to the podium. We ask that all would rise for the invocation. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance immediately following.
Pleased to be here. Creator of the universe, we gather this evening with the respite of summer quickly receding behind us. Schools are once more teeming with students, returning from camps and activities and lazing, while workplaces are filling with their full complement of employees, back from vacations and home projects and lying about. The sabbatical of summer is again rapidly transforming into the perennial autumn of activity. Ecclesiastes famously opines, "There is a time for everything under the sun." And a sabbatical, really a Sabbath, is a time for rejuvenation, a rejuvenation achieved through rest and reflection, through appreciation for what we have and recognition of what we can yet achieve and become. May we each have been blessed through our individual summer Sabbaths with refreshed energy and clarity of vision, with renewed purity of purpose and understanding of direction. Eternal source of blessing, may we be worthy of the responsibilities we have taken upon ourselves and deserving of the hopes entrusted to us by others. May our deepest shared values and most profound goals be realized through the spirit of both agreement and constructive difference, finding success through goodwill and unfaltering collaboration. The ancient rabbis of my tradition taught that the Sabbath is a taste of the world to come. Thus, with the Spirit of the divine, may we be reinvigorated by the Sabbath of our summertime, inspired to bring its idealized world of joy, satisfaction, and betterment to the world of all our future worthy endeavors, for us, for our community, and for all whose lives we touch. Let this ensuing year be an ever-brimming reservoir of limitless success, endlessly filled by the mighty cascades of overflowing harmony and peace. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, hello, Rabbi. If you could,
It's a pleasure to be
joining
here.
us tonight. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry.
Arrived here just a couple of months ago from New Jersey, although I confess to being a true Yankee from New England originally. I apologize. But I did at one time live in Greensboro for 5 years, so see, I knew that'd help. I found Fayetteville to be already a very welcoming place, and particularly our small congregation, yet over 100 years old, multicultural, multi-generational, filled with both some of the founding families as well as newcomers such as myself. It's truly a wonderful and active place, and we look forward to continuing to be a vigorous part of Fayetteville's community.
Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the city.
Thank you so much.
Council, at this time, I will defer to Councilmember Jensen, who has an announcement of a special guest with us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, we have Justin Robinson, and he is the Program and Marketing Director of the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council. He is a senior at Cumberland International, and he is his second year into the Youth Council, and so we look forward to having him up on the podium with us probably about every other month. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Justin.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Justin Robinson, and I am in the 12th grade at Cumberland International Early College High School. My home district is District 7, 71st Falcons. I'm here to update you on the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council's progress. On Monday, August 19th, 2019, we hosted a committee fair to allow the students to see more of what FCYC does and remind them that there is something for everyone to do. Our trip to Wilson, North Carolina for our collaboration meeting was a success, and we can't wait to be back in September for our service learning project. Monday, September 16th will be our next meeting date. We are inviting 10th, 11th, and 12th graders from public, private, and home schools to join us. If you'd like to know more info, you can email askfcyc@gmail.com. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, well, welcome, sir. I was going to say you look like a mighty young marketing director, but thank you for joining us tonight. At this time, if we could ask members of Connections of Cumberland County, if you could meet me at the podium, please. Go to Councilmember Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to read the proclamation for this amazing group of women. If anybody has not gone to see the place at Connections, you should take time and go see the wonderful work that these ladies are doing for our community. I'm sorry, sir. I did not see you. And the nice gentleman that I have not met yet. Whereas Connections of Cumberland County serves as a day resource center for homeless women and children, and whereas the mission of Connections of Cumberland County is a community that collaborates to implement sustainable programs that provide homeless women and children with the opportunity to develop independence and self-reliance, And whereas Connections of Cumberland County operates only walk-in day resource center with comprehensive case management for women and children who are homeless or facing homelessness. And whereas Connections of Cumberland County opened its doors on July 2014 and will be celebrating 5 years in operation in July 2019. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, on behalf of the City Council and more than 2,008 citizens, do hereby honorary proclaim the month of July 2019 in honor of Connections of Cumberland County. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand in the cause of the great city seal of Fayetteville on this 31st day of July 2019. Mitch Colvin, Mayor.
What you do?
Excuse me. We're very excited to be here before City Council with this acknowledgement and proclamation. Connections of Cumberland County has been open since July 2014. In that time, we've served in our community over 1,200 women and 1,600 children who are facing homelessness or who are already homeless in our community. We operate the only day resource center in Cumberland County and serve all of our municipalities. We have supportive services on site. Our community partners, Fayetteville Technical Community College, is on site 3 days a week working with women for some upward mobility to get some better skills for the workforce. Over the summer, our Representative Lakeisha Marshall has worked with 19 women in her lab, the Career Exploration Lab. Of those women that were participating in that lab, 11 have secured employment over the summer. So we have a lot of exciting things happening at Connections. I would love for you each to have the opportunity. Those that have come to see Connections, we're grateful for you. But I would love for each of you to come and see the Day Resource Center. We operate out of the Cool Spring Tavern at 119 North Cool Spring Street. You have at your place settings, hopefully, our mission and our 4 programs and our impact thus far in this community. And we thank you for your time.
And I will say, I had a tour at Connections, a very impressive operation, so thank you all for what you're doing. And I hope that as we talk about, as the council decides which direction we're going to address homelessness in our community, that we'll invite you to come tell us a little bit more about how you may play a role in some of those decisions. So thank you so much for what you're doing. All right, council, we'll move on to item 5.0, the approval of the agenda. Look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right, I heard a first and a second to my left, I think. I don't know which order, but I think I had a motion by Councilmember Wright, second by Councilmember Art, to approve the agenda. And council will remind you that if you hit the lights, I can track it a little better. Any discussion on the motion? All right, I'll look to you for your votes to approve the agenda. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Item 6.0 is the consent agenda. Councilman Culleton. All right, had a few lights, but I saw Councilman Culleton's first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the property located at 101 North Street, Eastern Boulevard. This is item 6.010. I'd like to remove that from the consent.
All right, and I think I had a light for a motion for a second by Councilmember Jensen. Is that so? That's true. Okay. Yes, all right, council, any discussion on the motion to approve with the exception of item 6.01's 101 Northeastern Boulevard, District 2, item as mentioned?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just to clarify, all the other items will be on the consent approval, just that one item.
Correct. So just to restate that, this is a motion to approve with the exception of amending item 6.010 with the property located at 101 Northeastern. Is that right, Madam Attorney?
Not amended, Mayor, removing.
Removing, okay. All right. All right, we'll try it again. Motion to is on the floor for with the removal of item as indicated by Councilmember Culleton. There's a second by Councilmember Jensen. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Right, item 7.01, Chief Hawkins.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
Give me an opportunity to pull it up. First of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me to begin a quarterly report of our community and the safety of our community. I think being able to provide this quarterly report on a regular basis is going to enable you and the community to be updated and empowered about everything that the police department is doing to support us keeping our main goal, which is a safe and secure community. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Right now, I'm going to go over January through June, the second half of the quarter. Keeping in mind, I know we're at the end of August. It just takes a second for us to create a report and have numbers that are accurate enough to reconcile, but we already have a date in November for the third quarter report, so that's already in session. So give me a second while I do that. While I also do that, I want to take this moment to thank the executive team that works for me behind me, because they didn't have to be there. Here. I didn't tell them to come. They came in support. So we're all a team, and they're here to be able to say, yes, we work together to create this report and the work that they do. So thank y'all for being here. All right, so what you're going to see is me share a little bit about how we gauge our how well we're doing as a police department, as a community. We're going to do it through giving information on our crime statistics, some of the crime trends on how we look at our statistics, our community engagement, and some of our crime fighting strategies. So as we go into the first slide, keeping in mind we're always going to be trying to do our best to compare apples to apples. So if you remember the end of last year, how we gauge crime and measure crime nationally is under a system called NIBRS, the National Incident-Based Reporting System. This is the federally established system that says how we define crime, how we calculate it, and how we submit it. So as you can see, it's broken down also into two different categories, offenses against persons and property offenses. So from January through June of this year, we're consistent with homicide. We've decreased in our numbers in rape reporting. We're slightly up in aggravated assault. And we're ahead of the curve because nationally all entities will have to be on board with NIBRS by January of 2020, but we came in line in January 2019. So as I talk to you about how we're a little up in aggravated assault. Our aggravated assault, we always look at and see what we're up to, see if something that we can do about it proactively, prevention, or whatever that may be. We looked
Chief,
at,
not to disturb you,
No,
but
sure.
red in this case means that number went up.
that is correct,
And
sir.
green means that it went down.
That is correct, sir. And I think I'll go back to the previous slide. You're talking about here, like 20, green means, and I'll try to make this better for our third quarter. I'll either say plus or minus, add it to that to make it for easier reading. So for right now, you're correct. Green means we decrease, which is a good thing. Red means it's not so good, so for that matter. Increase is, we're higher year to date in misdemeanor and felony for a total of drilling down. But if you recall last year, I talked about aggravated assault has been on a trend to be higher. So when I looked at it further, last year, we saw that domestic violence was really driving that number up. So I created a domestic violence unit and really gave them or empowered them to tell us if there's anything we can do proactively or how can we truly prevent or decrease that number of domestic violence. Another reason why we did it, and we saw that in 2018, 22 homicides, 7 out of 22 homicides, 7 were domestic violence related. So that really was a key number for us as well. So since the first half of the year, what we saw also is detectives are taking a lot more time assisting the victims, making sure they continue in the process, making sure we identify cases that are going from misdemeanor that need to go to felony and really need to be prosecuted. So that's making a turn, and so far year to date, not year to date, from January to June, we've had no homicides that were domestic violence related. So that's something staple for us as well. So let me go into the next slide. Property crimes, you see consistently burglary, larceny, and robbery. We've decreased it, and we have a slight increase. Burglary, larceny, motor vehicle theft are decreased. We have a slight increase in robbery crimes. Under UCR guidelines, was the previous one, robbery used to be a crime against a person. Right now, it is actually a property crime. And things that can be categorized in a robbery might be like a snatch robbery. If you snatch a purse off someone, that's considered a robbery. So that's our crime against person. Overall, though, it is down compared to the same time period last year. So what you're looking at right now is called the clearance rate. Clearance rate is also another tool that police departments or law enforcement entities use to actually is an indicative of how well the investigations are being done on a police department, meaning that it speaks towards the police department's ability to investigate and identify offenders, because what we've seen is typically a lot of offenders are repeat offenders in the community in the community, there's usually a small amount of individuals doing continued crime over and over again. So our ability to have a clearance rate means that how are we solving these crimes? The numbers, it's different. So national crime 2017, that is by FBI reporting. FBI still has not had the final numbers for 2018, but these are the numbers that we submitted to FBI for our numbers for Fayetteville, where it says Fayetteville 2018. And you can see in every category from the whole year of 2018, we were above national average in clearing crime. From January to June, these are our numbers, and the only crime that we are below the national average is aggravated assault. But also, please keep in mind, these cases are continuous. We don't stop working a case because the end of the month stops. So we might solve it later. Another thing that it's a gauge is being able to, NIBRS requires a lot more work in order for us to close a case of clearance. So that's another change that affects that for NIBRS. So traffic fatalities. Now, right now it's only listed as fatalities, but as a department, we keep up with all type of traffic statistics, whether it be fatalities, accidents, and violations. We do that so that we can make sure we are utilizing our resources efficiently. We're putting enforcement in locations, not just by word of mouth. We're using real data. We might put up speed safety devices to say, is there a trend on speed? But it also helps us in prevention and education of the community. An example can be like, for example, if we've seen a lot of fatalities occur in a community, like in Cedar Creek Road, we were connected with either it's DOT or traffic engineering based off of the study to be able to put pedestrian crosswalks or more lighting in that area. So that's how we use the data for fatalities and all things related to traffic accidents. So this one I'm going to highlight for you is talking about just the drug seizures of our narcotics unit, not even the whole department as a whole. The reason why this is important, this also helps us gauge and monitor the trends of narcotics that are on the street and what that movement may be. And it might be a result also of when a large investigation happens. So as you see these numbers, although it says heroin has decreased, you'll see fentanyl has increase a great deal because a small amount of fentanyl affects the community a great deal, plus fentanyl is cheaper. Another measurement for monitoring trends, we also realized in a couple years beforehand, pills became a big issue in the communities and society. So they start putting more restrictions on how pills are dispersed, monitoring that. So that moved another type of drug accessibility to the community. So that's why we monitor that and keep gauge of that. So we talk about just our statistics, but our statistics is not the only way that we gauge our community safety. We do things like educating kids on gun violence. So for the year of 2018, school year 2018 to 2019, we actually taught this course to 292 classes in the Cumberland County, Fayetteville area. We also have Operation Ceasefire, where we annually have that event on between 5 and 6 communities that we carefully identify, whether it's at risk, whether it's where they need to be exposed to different partners and different resources. We have our quarterly Coffee with a Cop, where we go in the community just to get information from the community on a just a casual basis, no agenda on it. We might hear information that we might not have heard, giving them the access to hear in another manner. And then we also have twice a year a Citizens Police Academy, where we not only for 9 weeks teach the citizens, give them a behind-the-scenes view of the police department and all the units that operate a police department. You also know that we have our community watch groups and our business watch groups. Right now we have 150 active community watch groups and 13 active business watch groups. We do National Night Out. We correlated that with Operation Ceasefire as well. We talk about our recruiting. Recruiting is another avenue for us to get engaged in community, see if we can recruit citizens or people in the community to become a part of our police department. I have a quarterly faith forum because we know that the faith-based community actually lead a large group of individuals. So if we give us a forum for them to share information that someone shared to them where they might not feel comfortable talking to us, but we also take advantage during the faith forum to educate the faith-based leaders on things like crime prevention, gangs and gun violence, or building security. And we also communicate through our social media aspects, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, or Snapchat. Another avenue we have, we have our police activity leagues, and besides engaging in volunteering for sports throughout the year, we have a 2-week summer camp, in which we picked this year. We had 13 kids throughout the city, and they, for 2 weeks, not only are identifying crime issues that are concerning them, they pick the topic, they research the topic, they address the topic, they perform the topic, and create a public safety announcement to show that they have the ability to have a voice, and empowering is very, very key for everything that we do for the police department. We also take this opportunity to really tour them throughout the city. They get to see, some kids have never bowled before. Some kids got to see downtown. We took them to the baseball stadium. Just getting them out in the community is very important to us. So some of our crime fighting strategies that you've probably seen before, you know about the 9 p.m. routine, where we remind individuals, lock your cars, lock your house, lock your storage sheds. We think that that has played a big role in how we've decreased, if you notice, the numbers of burglary crime and larceny crimes, just being aware of that information. We have the Ring initiative that we also started this year, in which this photograph right here is an actual case that we have where you don't have to have the Ring system. Any computer system, any camera system can connect to the Ring initiative and give us information to share throughout the community. That's a big asset for the community, knowing that they are empowered to solve case and prevent crime in their area. We also have our city camera systems in certain parts of throughout the city. We have what I call my CERT team. Our CERT team, we have 3 CERT teams, Community Empowerment Response, where they are assigned to the captains of each of the 3 districts, and they're able to be deployed for not just doing an initiative of high crime, but also to connect to the community, to educate, and to say, hey, if there's a major thing that happened in the community, they're able on their own time to go back and touch base with the neighbors. And as you know, we have Crime Stoppers, where people are able to submit anonymous tips for a reward. Now we want to go into our communication section. This is very key because a lot of the community gauges a police department based off of their response time or the perceived response time. So what I'm going to show you is from January through June, we've had 95,373 calls for service. That's every 911 call coming into the center, compared to 2018 of 97,936 calls. So what I'm also showing you is just the priority 1 and priority 2 response times. Those are very crucial because the 911 center, you hear a lot of people say, I don't want to call 911 because I don't want to prevent someone else to get service. But there are 9 different priorities that get triaged through the 911 center, and they're able to either determine what's the expected dispatch time, but a priority 1 and priority 2 are ones that require immediate response from officers, things like a crimes in progress or immediate aid. So they get a high priority versus any other ones. So you see the response times on average for us is 5 minutes and 83 seconds. Our target is 7 minutes, but the national range is 6 to 9 minutes because it depends on a lot of different factors, whether it be time of day, traffic congestion, or how many resource officers that we have on the road. Now, another thing that stays on our mind and our forecast is our staffing, our recruiting. So to the left where you see budgeted, that is our allocation from January through June 30th this year for sworn and non-sworn on the police department, and the actual on the right is the actual what was at that point in time, how many we had. I also wanted to note that there are 10 in that non-sworn numbers that are part-time positions that were created specifically for our communications section to hire part-time individuals that work less, people who have like retired and want to be able to come and just take call takers, because at that point in time we had 11 openings in our 911 center just to be able to say, hey, who can help this support while it takes the 6 to 9 months to train up someone in communications. Highlighting a few of our achievements from year to date, from January to June. You know about our very good cold case squad solving 3 historical old rape sexual cases based off of DNA technology. We've had 2 athletes in our PAL, one in track and one in boxing, that got bronze medal in national and international events. Highlight this one, our accreditation center. So in May 4th in 2019, the police department's communications center received the CALIA accreditation. Keeping in mind, the police department was already accredited. To have this accreditation from our communications center, let me give you a perspective. Only 1 out of 5 communications centers in North Carolina are currently CALIA accredited. So we're 1 of 5 that are CALIA accredited in the state of North Carolina. This reflects the dedication and professionalism of our communication center. We're also featured, the NIBRS. When we transitioned to the NIBRS, we had 0% errors, and after 2 audits of transitioning into NIBRS. And we were also featured nationally on A&E channel for Women on Patrol. So for the police department, another gauge is the Office of Professional Standards. Under Office of Professional Standards, we have our Internal Affairs section. And UOF means use of force. These are the actual incidents that we proactively review in the police department. Whenever we use force, we do our own assessments and gauge whether or not we're in compliance with our own policies, procedures. Then we have departmental investigations. These are ones that are started internally from supervisors. That does not come from the outside, and that's the citizen complaint number. So that is what we have for compared from 2018 to 2019. And now I'm ready for any questions that you may have.
All right, we do have 1 or 2. I have a couple I made notes for. On aggravated assaults, so as you indicated on this presentation, that number was up, but our clearance was down. I remember having this conversation maybe a year ago about domestic violence.
Yes, sir.
And you set up a special task force. Is that something that you think would help this situation?
It is helping it, sir. So I did have the highlight on domestic violence slide. So in the domestic violence slide, I can go back to it if you like me to.
Well, no, I understood that number went down.
Yes.
My point was that it went down because you set aside a certain group of officers to deal with domestic violence.
Yes, sir.
Would that same approach be helpful with bringing this aggravated assault number down?
Well, aggravated assault domestic violence is a part of the aggravated assault numbers. So yes, that is what it is doing. Comparatively, even though our numbers are lower or high in domestic violence, last year on 3rd quarter, it was over 100. So right now we're looking for mid-year is approximately 14. So on that track, that domestic violence unit, I believe, is making a big impact on our overall aggravated assault. So that's like a subsection of aggravated assault.
Let me rephrase the question. I guess I'm not.
So I understand the domestic violence component to aggravated assault has been turned around, going in the right direction because of the task force. But you have another component of aggravated assaults that's causing the overall number to go up. So what I'm saying is the same approach that you use to deal with the domestic violence component of aggravated assaults. Do you think you can deal with the other remaining parts of aggravated assaults that are still trending up?
So let me provide a little bit of clarity. I already have an aggravated assault unit.
Okay.
So, but because I already had an aggravated assault unit that was handling all of aggravated assaults, in order to give them more support, I created, out of the aggravated assault unit, a subsection just to deal with domestic violence alone. So the aggravated assault unit exists and is also almost a subcomponent of the homicide unit. It's the homicide unit and then it's the whole aggravated assault unit. But they are actually working those cases, yes, sir. So I have an aggravated assault unit already.
All right, so I guess my question was trying to figure out a solution to the problem. So I'll just present the problem to you and you maybe can tell me that. So what do you think we can do to get that number trending in the other direction?
I think we're doing it to make it trend in the other direction. It just takes so right now, although the proactiveness of making sure the clearance rates we're staying steady on that, we're doing what we're supposed to do, which is we're out there solving the crimes, we respond quickly, we work as a team, so we are doing that to get those numbers to trend, sir.
Okay. And the last question I had, some of those initiatives that you said we had, like the Ring Initiative.
Yes.
And the Call by 9. How are we getting that out to the citizens? And can you explain what it is? So I understand the Ring says you can take your camera, but what does the citizen have to do to participate in either one of these two programs?
So we will definitely put it out with Community Watch. We push it out on social media. So that's how we give it out, not just in Community Watch groups. We have those pamphlets, information on how to connect to it, but we also push it out in our social media network. So, but if anyone wants to call, they can.
Watching, what would they do? They need to call the non-emergency number?
Participate in which one, I'm sorry?
In the Ring or the 9 p.m. routine. 9 p.m. routine, you call or how do you remind people? You just send a message out to social media?
Every night at 9 p.m. we push out on our social media,
so
Facebook.
They have to like your social media page to be able to follow that.
And word of mouth, continuously we push it out. We have little cards that we pass out at our Community Watch groups just as a reminder all the time, making it a habit of 9 p.m. at night. If you've forgotten, if you don't make it a habit, when you get out your car to lock your door, that's a reminder that we push out.
Okay, and what about the Ring Initiative?
We'll, if you want to connect to us on without just giving phone numbers out, we'll be here available to. We'll push that back out again on how to get connected to the Ring Initiative.
You said without giving phone numbers out. So there's
I'm saying they can call. Well, because if I want good information to go out, I don't want them to call non-emergency number to say, "Hey, how do I connect?" So I will set up a system to make sure everyone is re-educated on the Ring Initiative and how to get connected to the Ring Initiative.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your report. One of the number one concerns that I get at my Community Watch meetings are response time, and especially if it doesn't fit within that priority list. And as I look on our information here, it just says the only thing close, I think, is average response time, because I don't see non-priority response time, and you have like it's 1.58 minutes. And one of the complaints that I receive that sometimes is even longer than that. I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints that I get. Mr. Hare, I thought it doesn't sit within that priority list.
So, and that's why on that particular slide, it has 5.8 minutes is our average. You want me to go back to, you're looking at it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So 5 point is the police department's average just for priority 1 and priority 2. But you are correct with the education of the community, understanding we have 9 different priority ranges. Right. And anything from priority 3 to priority 9, there is a system that's set up. It can be anything from a suspicious activity to, hey, I just want a desk report run, or can an officer just come by and say hello to me for whatever reason. That's how those are categorized. And we are able, when people request it, to provide those categorized lists. But for this report, I just want to highlight when there's an immediate response, when an act of crime in the midst of it, or you need immediate health response, the response for priority 1 and priority 2, which is should be the lowest number, is that gauge. But there are numerous other priority ranges that exist.
So help me understand correctly, then if it's not within the priority range, what I see here,
Yes.
we don't have a time, or you
We
saying
do have times. I just didn't want to list what the time rate for the priority 3 is,
Okay.
what the time rate
That's
for
where
priority
my
4.
complaints
Yes,
come in a
we
lot.
do have those times, and we'll be happy to share that information. It's based off of CALEA standards, and it is not something that we made up. So we're able to do that, but just for the sake of the perception of what are priority 1 and priority 2 calls, and what do I expect the response time to be. We don't hold calls, though. So.
One more question. It's shared a lot with our very good staff, our crime prevention staff, about the ring.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of my constituent base actually have the ring, like the Ring doorbell type
Yes, sir.
thing. How is that shared with the police? Do they, once they load up, do they get it tied in with the police department, or do they have to download it and send it to you?
So I will be able to answer that because I know I have it and I get the alerts all the time within it. So basically, it is also downloading the app to have access to this initiative. And remember, you don't have to have a ring to be able to get connected to this initiative in the community. So like I said, I will make sure that we share that in, not just on our, and I'll give it to the city to make sure the city can push it out on our social media city Facebook page or whatever means we have. So anyone right now who does not know how to sign up their camera system with the Ring Initiative, because it does help us a great deal with being able to have leads or get connected and things like that. So it's shared. But a lot of the community push information to us, so that's how we get it.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Waddell?
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. Chief Hawkins, I just want to commend you and your team of officers. Recently, I was watching, kind of scrolling through social media, and saw that an allegation had been made against one of our police officers, and the way that was researched and was handled, and the way the information was put out was extremely professional, and it preserved the integrity of our police department, our police officers, and this city, and I really appreciate that. It really was. And I also want to thank you, because for every negative story that we hear across the nation, it is very refreshing to live in a city where that is not our narrative. And anytime I come across one of your officers, I'm always very, very pleased to be able to tell them thank you. And so I'd like to do the same with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I am definitely very proud of my entire police department, sworn, non-sworn, everyone plays a role. We set up, we know we work very hard. They work very hard to be professional, to train. So, and to have the means for if something happens to submit a complaint, because by no means are we perfect. Can we have a bad day? It's possible. Can we make a mistake? It is possible. And we do the investigations. That's why we had the list of how we investigated. But to accuse us of something that we did not do is very harsh. And it affects not just us, it affects all law enforcement. It affects the community as well, because they believe what's getting pushed out, and it affects our trust. So, and it's not me being the only one going out there building trust. Every officer that's out there, every non-sworn that's out there, they do over and above. So I'm very proud of them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Larry Wright?
Thank you for your presentation, Chief, and I echo the sentiments of council. You're doing a great job, and we're proud of the staff. I have a couple of questions. I know you went through the presentation, and I didn't see anything concerning sex trafficking, unless that's in there somewhere in one of the other categories. And the question, because we hear about there's a problem with sex trafficking in North Carolina, Cumberland County, what are we doing to combat that, and what category would you put that in? Can you go over that a little bit for us?
So sex trafficking is not one of the NIBRS unless someone is claiming a rape or some type of assault. That's not one of the categories, but we do have a human trafficking unit. Not only do we have a human trafficking unit, but we have 2 members of our unit on at the Human Trafficking Federal Task Force. So I know it also, the narrative of it's a big problem in our community. What I see or what I've seen, it's a national problem. We are just ahead of the curve with identifying, working with partners to address it, training, educating, making arrests, investigating, supporting other jurisdictions around to try to eradicate it, address it, and give support of the victims of human trafficking. So because we do that and we document it and we take it very, very seriously, when other jurisdictions do not, it's like saying, ignore a problem. I don't have a problem if I don't capture it, if I don't report it, and if I don't work towards it. So although we are working towards it, we've identified it as a national issue that no one wants to ignore. We don't want to ignore, but we know it takes a lot of work. So that's why we have a unit specifically for human trafficking. So we are always actively working and trying to find other ideas. We work on training other cities in the state of North Carolina about what we're doing and how successful what we're doing is working out.
Excellent, excellent. The next question I have is dealing with gun violence, and I might have missed the category, but you say you have 292 classes that you do in schools concerning, I guess, gun violence
Yes,
in our community. Do you feel that this awareness to gun violence have impacted our community, and what are those numbers when it comes to violent crimes dealing with guns in our community?
So one, yes, I do feel like it's affected, and that would be a totally separate presentation for educating kids on guns. And since the inception and what we've, how many people we've educated, taught, and those results, I think it plays a big role because that target audience is middle schoolers and young high schoolers. Just being taking them away from being desensitized to what gun violence does for themselves growing up. So I think it does do a big impact. We've also gone and taught other jurisdictions as well on educating kids on guns. But that will be being able to show you those numbers because it's not here. We show that as an initiative, but we started that initiative, I believe, help me out, 2015, 2016? 2016. So every year, although that's just 292 classes, imagine, I think it was in the 3,000 students that were taught that course. But we also not just teach that course in schools, we also teach it in churches. We teach it upon requests if they come. So we're always, and it's a lesson plan. It's not just, it's a decision-making lesson plan. So it's not a quick 1 hour educating kids. It's a full-fledged lesson plan program.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Culleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to commend your department, as Councilwoman Waddell pointed out, in the professionalism that you handle some difficult situations, especially that recent accusation. With that said, I wanted to go on slide 7 with the clearance rate comparisons.
Yes.
Maybe my concern is unfounded if you can clarify it for me, but we have a significantly lower clearance rate in rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. Can you tell me why or what's involved in lowering those rates, or what are some of the factors in not being able to lower those compared to the prior year?
So you're looking at entire comparatively 2017 to 2018?
I'm looking at 2018 to 2019.
Okay, so keeping in mind, 2019 numbers are just January through June, whereas the full year is in 2018. And I was sharing that all cases are always being worked. So although a case is open, it might have started that time period in, let's say, June the 1st. We're still working it. So that's why I presented in 2017 and 2018 numbers year to date. Those are for the full year of gauging what we're doing. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't get solved possibly in 2019. So what we're doing to work it is our investigative skills.
For the 2017, that's a national average.
That is a national average.
And so what you're saying is you're hoping, or I don't want to put words into your mouth, but are you hoping at the close of 2019 that our clearance rates will be at or above what they are or what they were for 2018?
I expect our numbers are going to be better than 2018 numbers because they always work on solving crimes and closing the case, even though the comparative, it takes a lot of work. And for example, looking at another gauge, let me share with you. The restrictions on closing cases now are a little difficult. It just doesn't mean that did you capture the person or did you have to literally arrest someone to close a case or have something that's called exceptional clear. And those criteria, for example, if you have someone that's involved in violence or that knows the suspect and does not want to prosecute, in order for us to close a case of called non-prosecution, that person has to provide the name and date of birth of that individual to close a case. We have many cases where people don't want to share that information for whatever reason, don't want to talk about that information, but NIBRS put that in place in order to help the bigger picture, which is the community, with identifying, even if you don't want to prosecute this individual, we need the name of the individual and the date of birth of that individual so we can close it because you don't want to prosecute. A lot of times they don't want to give that information because that may lead us to another case. So we have to have numerous efforts in order to have the definition of clearance rate established. But we are always, this gauge, the reason why I present it, is a gauge of showing how well and how hard we're working to be way above the national average, but even against our numbers. We want to be way above what we've done.
Absolutely, and I look forward to seeing those numbers at the end of 2019. We're recognized for having such a great department, those detectives clearing out, especially our homicide unit, and I like to keep that reputation going. The next question I had was slide 9, when we're looking at the drugs.
Narcotics.
Seizures, yeah. The concern, heroin, my understanding, is on the rise in a lot of areas nationally, and I think in some areas in North Carolina we have some of the worst cases. Where do we stand in Cumberland County or Fayetteville in terms of heroin use? Is it on the rise as well?
Use, I don't keep that. We don't keep that statistic.
My concern is just that percent change. I know it's 1 pound, 1.1 pound, but it doesn't look good with the 50% increase.
No, but what's even bigger is that fentanyl number, because people are starting to use, because of the cost, fentanyl is less expensive. So what we have seen on the rise, though, is overdose deaths, literally comparative. So that's important for us, knowing what to focus our efforts on and knowing what success looks like. So heroin costs a lot, and they have started lacing fentanyl into heroin because it's cheaper, which means there's going to be a lot more users that are not used to using drugs that are overdosing, and that's what we've seen.
Much more dangerous. And I would like to point out there is a 36,000% change there to the good on fentanyl. So again, I commend you and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Chris.
Chief, the fentanyl, wasn't that originally set up to be used on horses?
I don't know, sir. I'm sorry.
I think it was. Therefore, that makes it even more dangerous because it was, as my understanding, established to use for veterinarians. So anyway, I'm not going to congratulate you until when I come off the council. I'm probably going to put an application in for your bleed training so I can become a police officer.
Absolutely,
and
sir.
if you get me through that, then I'll congratulate you.
Okay, sir.
No, seriously. On the slide that you showed with the response time, it had 5.83.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that 5.83 hundredths of a minute?
No, it's 5 minutes and 83 seconds.
5 minutes and 83 seconds?
Yes.
Well, that
Well,
translates to 6 minutes and 23 seconds.
Hold on a second. Let me get to that slide. Say it
That's
again.
what I was confused on. I think that's 5 minutes and 83 hundredths.
Yes.
A
83
minute
minutes,
is what
yes.
that is.
That is correct.
That's correct?
5.8, yes.
All right. Thank you so much for the job that you're doing, and thank your staff and your officers out there that are putting it on the line every day. Tell them Bill Chris appreciates it. Thank you.
Sir, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you, Cadet Chris. Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Hawkins, I'm very pleased to see you're close to closing the gap or getting to your goal for your sworn and non-sworn officers. That's not been the case in Fayetteville for many years. So whatever you're doing is working. So keep it up, whatever you're doing. The second thing is thank you for connecting some cameras to some of the neighborhoods I'd asked you about. Some of our neighborhoods are now starting to buy cameras through their community watch groups, and that's extremely important because we need to become a city of cameras so that we can catch whatever bad guy is out there through the use of a lot of our private cameras. But connecting to part of the system needs to always be our goal. Do you have someone on staff that seeks out grants from, say, utilities or foundations so that we can buy more cameras?
So I do have someone, first of all, on staff that seeks out grants all the time, and I do make sure the entire staff is empowered to look not just that one person's responsibilities for efforts or funding, to look for many different things for our technology aspect for public safety. So yes.
In the past, we used to get reports of, quote, hot spots in the city where there seems to be more crime than usual, and I'm assuming that you still track that.
Absolutely, sir.
All right.
We meet every single week. They probably meet more often than that, but it's actually public knowledge. The public can pull it up from the website and look at their neighborhood and see what the crimes happened in the last week, last month. It's under our open data portal. So.
All right, and then when you see areas of hot spots that don't have cameras, I would support if you budget next year for some more cameras. You know that you'd have one council member that would be very interested in that. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chief. To you and your entire police department. I'm looking at the marijuana seizures, which, you know, I'm not too concerned. It went down 553 pounds. But if I remember last year, we had a couple of significant. One bust was 275 pounds at one shot. And as people go, you know, more towards fentanyl and things, so would that kind of tell the difference? Because we didn't have those big 250, 75 pound.
Yeah, I think we had about 3 large cases last year where we had 200 one time and 300 another seizure. So that was huge at that point. Right. You know, 179 pounds for the first 6 months is huge itself in the community. So. Yeah, that does affect a lot of the trends of what drug are they going to use in order to get that high.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
All right, well, Chief, I think you've handled it all. Great presentation. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Do we need a motion to accept the chief's report, Mr. Mayor?
That sounds like one from you. Is there a
I
second?
so move. I did watch that police
Women on Patrol
program. Your officer was very, very professional.
Yes, sir. Thank
Yeah, I move to accept the report from our chief of police.
Thank you, sir. As a motion by the cadet Crisp, as a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor to receive the chief's report? Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Thank you so much. Motion carries. As we move now into public hearings, and first of all, before we do that, I would like to acknowledge and give a congratulations to one of our colleagues who has recently become an Aggie. We won't hold that against him, but congratulations, Councilmember Hare, for completing North Carolina A&T University.
Thank you,
So
sir.
let's give him a round of applause for that.
Thanks.
All right, Madam Clerk, public hearings. Somebody has rearranged my notes. Don't know. Somebody's been on this dais here. Madam Clerk, do you know who's been in the? Citizens Advisory folks been in here. Do you have this? Yep. Taking it out of here.
For the public hearing.
Yeah, well, all right, well, was looking to read the declaration about the public hearings, and it looks as if somebody has shared our dais, so I will ad-lib it. This is a time for Fayetteville residents
who may have input and a voice in what goes on in their city. Due to policy restrictions, the public hearings are not lasting longer than 30 minutes. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes to address the city council on issues related to the matter at hand. Individuals wishing to speak should have signed up with the city clerk prior to the night's meeting. If you're speaking on one of the items under the public hearing, we ask that you would have those comments during such time. So when your name is called at the end of the presentation, we'll ask that you would be called by the city clerk. Please come to the podium. Please clearly state your name and address for the home record. When you see the light that's located on the podium go from green to yellow, means you have 30 seconds left to speak. When you see the red light come on, it means your time has expired. And due to policy restrictions, we're unable to extend the given time. That being said, we'll look to you for the beginning of your presentation.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Baptiste. I am a senior planner in the Development Services Department. The first case before you is case number TA 19-058. It's a text amendment that's being brought before the council by Ned Garber on behalf of the Rubicon Group. The request is to amend the Coliseum Tourism Overlay District by adding a subsection to allow non-conforming uses to expand by using the special use permit process. The Coliseum Tourism Overlay was adopted by City Council in August of 2014. When the overlay was adopted, certain uses were identified as permitted. Any other use that's in the area that was not on the list became an existing non-conforming use. The request is to add a subsection in the non-conforming use section of the tourism overlay that will allow an existing non-conforming use to expand by using a special use permit process. The special use process involves an application going through TRC review, staff review, the zoning commission review, and then finally coming to City Council for final disposition. City Council has several options that they can take when looking at this matter. City Council can vote to adopt the text amendment as presented by staff. They can vote to deny the request. They can vote to revise and adopt the ordinance amendment, or City Council can remand the request back to staff for further consideration. This item has gone before the Planning Commission, and staff and Planning Commission both recommend that the City Council approve the proposed amendment. Are there any questions for staff?
I don't see any. Well, thank you for that. So at this time, we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, please call your first speaker.
Mayor, we have no speakers for this item.
All right, at this time, we'll close public hearing on this matter. It's time, council, entertain any questions for staff or look for action.
Go ahead and vote on it, Johnny.
Lights. Oh, sorry. Light. All right, Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it please the council, I would like to make a motion that we approve based upon the congruency of the proposed amendment with the following standards for text amendments as required by the Code 30-2.C.2E and the 7 following. Madam Attorney, can I dispense with reading those 7? Okay, thank you. That's my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. There's a motion by Councilmember Dawkins. There's a second by Councilmember Art. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Item 8.02, request is to issue a special use permit to allow existing nonconformist use in the Coliseum Tourism Overlay District.
Again, I'm Jennifer Baptiste, Senior Planner, Development Services. This is case number P19-32F. The applicant is Ned Garber of the Rubicon Group. The request is to...
Excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry. But this is a special use permit, and so Ms. Baptiste, as well as any speakers, need to be sworn in.
Gotcha. All right, so Ms. Baptiste, do we have any other speakers, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir, just one, Mr. Ned Garber.
You gotta get sworn, Ned.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? I do. Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Baptiste, now that you're all legal.
Okay. Again, this is, the request is being brought to you by Ned Garber of the Rubicon Group. The request is to have a special use permit to allow an existing non-conforming use in the Coliseum Tourism Overlay to expand. The parcel is located at 2460 Gillespie Street and is approximately 4.43 acres. The parcel is outlined in yellow. It is located along Gillespie Street, directly across from the Crown Coliseum. According to the zoning map, the majority of the area is zoned as community commercial with light industrial area just to the north of the subject property. The future land use map indicates that this area is best used as heavy commercial with some governmental use across Gillespie Street to the east of the property. Under the Coliseum Tourism Overlay Use Table, certain uses have been identified as permissible. Community service uses, eating establishment, office buildings, and recreational and entertainment uses. This is a subject property. Colonial Tires has been in operation and in this location since the late 1980s. So it's a well-established use in the area, and they have come to realize that they need to expand a little bit in order to be able to accommodate new growth with their business. The surrounding properties around the subject property there's a storage center just to the north of the subject property, and to the south is a home builders association. And across the street is the Human Resources Department for Cumberland County, as well as the NCDMV office. This is a proposed site plan for the use. The current building is located here, and the proposed expansion will be here. A more detailed elevation plan shows that they are intending to locate a 3-bay service area adjacent to the existing building, as well as another sales section. Zoning Commission and city staff recommends approval of the SUP based on the fact that the use meets all the requirements of an SUP, and since the underlying zoning district is community commercial, this use would be allowed to expand if it wasn't within the Coliseum Tourism Overlay. In addition, this use is not expanding and will not create any additional nonconformity with the land or the use. Staff is available for any questions, and the applicant is actually here to answer any additional questions that the council may have.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We've asked council to hold questions to the end of the presentation. So, council, I don't see any questions, so at this time, we will open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, if you could.
Yes, sir. We just have one speaker, Mr. Ned Garber.
Hello, sir.
Mayor, Council.
Hey, sir.
Ned Garber, 1427 Rayford Road.
Thank you, sir.
I'll just entertain any questions y'all may have.
Don't see any?
That's easy.
All right. All right, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Easy enough. So with that, we'll close the public hearing, and council, I'll look to you for action on this matter. Councilman Culleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would make a motion to approve item 8.02 as staff recommends, as well as zoning commission. Do I need to read the whole text?
Well, yeah, special use.
Okay, for a special use permit. P19-32F. Including the 8 findings of fact. This request is to issue a special use permit to allow an existing non-conforming use in the Coliseum Tourism Overlay District and the ability to expand zone and commercial zoning district and the Coliseum Tourism Overlay CTO located at 2460 Gillespie Street, north of intersection of Gillespie Street and West Mountain Drive, 4.43 acres, plus or minus being the property of BBC Edenton LLC, represented by Ned Gerber of the Root Canal Group.
Second that motion.
Councilman Chris, I think I had a second by Councilmember Waddell, I believe. All right.
You want to read the findings of fact? Or we
Okay.
I should.
Yeah, you can say included.
Just included?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, including
Madam
8
Clerk,
findings of fact.
I mean, Madam Attorney, can you give him some guidance on that? It's just as included within the items of the agenda.
I included them. Do I need to read them out?
Said about shall be good for 12 months and.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I didn't hear the question in between Councilmember Culleton's question.
He was asking, does he have to read each one of these 8 findings of fact?
No, you can reference them and incorporate them by reference into
right.
the motion.
All right, so to be clear, Councilman Culleton, there's a motion to approve this item to include the 8 findings of facts as enclosed in the packet. And there was a second by Councilmember Waddell. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. All right, Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Congratulations, sir. Item 8.03, proposed 9 changes to Article 30. Mr. Freeman.
Sir. Taurus Freeman, Planning and Zoning Divisional Manager, Department of Development Services. The next 9 text amendments are all recommendations that we received from the UDO Task Force. The UDO Task Force is an ad hoc committee that was appointed by the mayor and operated for a period of over 1 year. During that time, they reviewed certain sections of the development code and made recommendations that are being brought to you today. This is actually the second bundle of text amendments. The first bundle was approved earlier part this year, which in totaled 18 text amendments. This batch right here are 9, and the remaining 11 will be spread out over a period of 2 months. All the following text amendments were reviewed by staff and recommended approval to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission heard these text amendments on July 29th, and they recommended approval as well. Our first case is TA 1944. This actually deals with driveway widths. It will reduce the required length of a maximum width of a driveway from 18 feet from the pavement edge to 12 feet from the pavement edge. It would allow for a maximum width of a driveway for a two-car garage to be increased from 20 feet to 24 feet. The number of garage bays will also be modified from simply two-car garages to two or more car garages. This right here is the current code and the proposed code. As you can see, you have the 12 feet here for the driveway, and then you have the 24 foot and adding the wording of or more. This right here shows what the current code is. As you can see, there is an 18-foot driveway here, and that number will be reduced to 12 and be expanded to allow for two or more bays for the garage. Our next text amendment, TA 1945, deals with sidewalks around the cul-de-sac. This section will be deleted in its entirety. The general effect of the change is to require sidewalks in all around cul-de-sacs rather than the current requirement of approving sidewalks on one half of the cul-de-sac roadway. Here, you see exactly, it will be item A4, which will be removed from the code itself. And here's an illustration. Whereas you see here, we have the sidewalk coming up on one side of the roadway. Well, with the proposed code, now the sidewalks will be included all around the cul-de-sac.
That's right.
Our next item, TA 1948, deals with landscaping between road frontages. This section will also be deleted in its entirety. The proposed amendment will allow landscaping for out parcels to meet the development standards required for all other areas of the same development. Additional landscaping of a 25% increase would no longer be required between the buildings and out parcels. And this is how the current code reads, B4. Here you see a commercial development, and these like here are the out parcels. Well, with the proposed change, the 25% landscaping requirement will no longer be in effect. So these right here, these structures, we have Taco Bell, AT&T, and Chick-fil-A along Ramsey Road. These all do not meet that standard. All the landscaping are part of the landscaping requirements that is currently within the ordinance itself. Our next item, TA 1950, deals with drive-throughs. The amendment addresses an existing gap in how businesses are administratively handled when fronting on two road frontages. The adjustment brings this section to similar adjustment controls used throughout Chapter 30. Also changes to allow the city manager to waive certain requirements, Here you see the new verbiage that would be added. And this is an illustration. So we have the PDQ located here on Skybo and North McPherson Church. You have landscaping here along both roadways. And then you also have the Circle K, which have landscaping. Now, a lot of times by having that additional landscaping, it could take away from some of that curb appeal for the businesses. And also it allows, by deleting it, also allows the business or the developer to have some flexibility in those requirements. These next three cases are closely related. They all deal with transitional standards, transitional standards exemptions, transitional standards in general, as well as just the general standards within the code. It will remove the zero lot lines from single-family development from transitional standards, treated zero lot line single-family the same as conventional single-family, and will still meet the needs to full setbacks where they border properties not part of the zero lot line subdivision. And all it is just removing the single-family from the codes themselves. Here you see it removed from 52. It's removed from here in 53, and it's removed here in 54. Now, what this does is for any commercial or residential zero lot line subdivision, it allows for the development of a structure to be at zero lot lines. Now, they can build closer to the property line, which is right now is currently a trend in single family. So the developer has more leeway of actually getting in more houses into the developments. But if the abutting is not part of that subdivision, then they will have to still meet the setback requirements. So a lot of times for residential, it is 35 feet, and most commercials is 25 feet and above. But this right here will allow for development of those units to be at zero lot lines within the same subdivision. Our next item is number TA 1955. This right here deals with small delivery vehicles. It will allow small commercial vehicles the ability to operate without a special use permit. The text amendment is a direct result of staying aligned with the delivery of products in conventional automobiles and not just larger vehicles. It will allow for vehicles, smaller personal vehicles under 6,000 pounds be used in deliveries.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Now you see the current code and A1D adding the verbiage for commercial for hire vehicles over 6,000 pounds. This right here are two exhibits of two different types of vehicles. Say, for instance, you have a Napa store that does delivery. Well, currently, if they want to do delivery and they abut a residential property, they have to get a special use permit. By this text amendment, it will allow them to be able to go through the process without having to go through a special use permit, because it's more compatible and is less intrusive on the surrounding neighbors. Now, the item on the right, the actually furniture vehicle, that is a vehicle that is over 6,000 pounds. Now, you may ask how large is 6,000 pounds? Well, according to truck classifications, most of your smaller type of cars are under 6,000 pounds. Your vehicles that reaches that threshold are Ford Rangers and Toyota Tacomas. Those are the smaller trucks, and those are all under 6,000 pounds. Now, anything, an Expedition, F-150, Dodge Ram, those vehicles right there are between 6,000 and 8,500 gross pounds. TA 1956 deals with building facades. This will actually add the wording unless a buffer is otherwise required adjacent to the residential development. And this right here is to ensure that the buildings in close proximity to the residential areas are scaled and designed in a compatible fashion with buffering to add a blending up into the business. And this actually covers two different sections under B. It will do item 2 and item number 4 in the transitional standards. So under our current code, if you have a commercial building such as this one right here, and whether you are budding or across the street, the commercial development would actually have to have the appearance or the facade of a residential unit. Without the code, you'll have a development like here, which is actually pre-UDO. So you have these buildings right here that was already existing. You have residential on the east and the west. And then you had this building right here. Well, this building was built in conjunction with this commercial development, and they did not have to follow those standards. So if it was according to our current code, that commercial building would actually have to resemble somewhat of what is here located here to the east or to the west. So this right here will allow the developer certain flexibilities to not meet that standard. Now, also keep in mind that commercial developments already have a buffer located here. So therefore, you have, typically with type D buffer, you have some type of fence, you have shrubs or trees, something of that magnitude to actually be able to screen from that residential view. And that's the end of my presentation.
All right, sir. We do have some questions. Madam Waddell, Councilmember Waddell.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. So it was my hope this evening that we were going to address each one of these independently, because there are some questions. Let me just say this. When these items were brought to us initially, they were brought to us, a lot of them at one time. We whittled it down, or by some process, it was whittled down to bring 9 before us. I've sat down with a couple of different members of staff to go over this, and I've sat down with some members in the community to have a discussion about this. And the understanding of what the implication of these changes are seems to vary from person to person that I speak with. That causes me a bit of concern, because what it says to me is that it's not clear. The implication of what we're doing is not clear. And so it would be helpful, and I'm sorry that you, well, I'm not, but I regret that you went through each of the items before we were able to kind of stop and ask questions about each one independently, because I have questions about maybe 5 of these. And I don't want to take up all of the time of council asking each of my questions one by one. So I guess what I will ask of the council is, as we're going through, what say you as the best method for me to have my questions answered?
Well, first thing we'll do is we're going to entertain council questions, and then as they make a motion, you or other council members can make a motion on it separately, or we can.
So what I'm understanding is you want me to go ahead and just ask all my questions?
Well, you have the floor right now.
Okay.
And the model that we had decided to adopt tonight was to let the presentation take place and then the question. So, Mr. Tars.
Wonderful.
She's got
So it's Freeman, correct?
That is correct.
Wonderful. Mr. Freeman, let's take a look at number.
Hold on 1 second, Councilman Waddell. Mr. Attorney, did you have something?
Well, just to clarify, Mayor, are you proposing to take council questions before you open the public hearing?
Yes, ma'am. The questions of staff, and then we know once we swear them in that's a different ball. Okay. Well, yeah, these are of staff right now. So we have several questions of staff, I think. So, Councilman Waddell?
Okay. So I've gotten clarification on 44 and 45. So let's take a look at 48, design standards. So you're saying that this will remove, if I understood correctly, you said that this removes the obligation on behalf of the builder or the developer in terms of the landscaping around each of these individual businesses. So what we would see would be maybe fewer trees and fewer, what are we saying? Explain that to me.
This right here is a subdivision. I think it was actually constructed prior to the UDO adoption.
Which one are you referring to, the exhibit on the right or the exhibit on the left?
They're the same exhibit.
Okay, so
Just-
you're saying that this was built prior to the inception of the current UDO standard?
Portions of that, Dave Steinmetz, Chief Zoning Administrator, portions of that development were prior to, and it won't remove all the landscaping. It'll just remove, when the code was originally drafted, there was no, the code would not allow parking in the front of the commercial business. And that section has been amended, and this part of the code was a kind of a leftover that needed to be removed, because that's what it's referring to for people having parking, or commercial businesses having parking in the front now, which
I
originally.
thought we were
was
gonna
the-
have that conversation later down the road. We've already changed
Yeah,
the
that section
designation.
of the code was amended a while back.
So what you're saying is this makes that consistent?
Right,
Because
right.
one part was taken
It
out, but
should
this
have been-
refers to the part that's no longer
Right, it
in
should
there.
have been removed.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly, it was about 2012, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we looking at? What would change in terms of this? Because one of the things that I was told by staff upstairs is that we've not been, go ahead, what would change in terms of this?
Well, your Pizza Hut and Taco Bell were pre-existing prior to the UDO. So the landscaping, a little bit of landscaping on the Chick-fil-A would go away between the parking there. That AT&T store, I believe that might have been pre-UDO as well.
So does that change how people maneuver through these different properties? So for example, you have to do
Might
some
make it
work to
it
get
might
around
make
and.
it a little easier. You mean transportation-wise?
Correct.
Yeah,
Does it change it from the main thoroughfare or from between the properties?
between the properties.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. So let's take a look now at TA 19-050.
Okay.
So what I heard Mr. Freeman say was that this change essentially makes the curb appeal better for the business by reducing this requirement. Can you explain that to me?
The way the code reads, the way the code reads, auto-oriented uses such as drive-throughs, things of that nature, are not allowed to front the street.
Meaning you would not come off of a major thoroughfare into.
Meaning the drive-through for PDQ could not face the Skybo Road there.
Right.
And an interpretation was done several years ago to allow that with extra landscaping.
So we're removing the requirement for the extra landscaping?
No, we're putting it in the code to require extra landscaping at the city manager's discretion, and that falls back on city staff.
Ms. Waddell, for point of clarification, if I could. The kangaroo that's in the picture, that's on Rayford Road. It's not facing Rayford Road, it's facing Strickland Bridge Road. Under this change to the ordinance, that kangaroo could front and face Rayford Road, but it would have to have additional landscaping requirements greater than what it has right now. Is that correct, Mr.
That would be a fair interpretation, yes.
Okay, thank you. TA 19-053. What is the impact of, do we already have an ordinance in place that allows for building of zero lot lines?
Yes.
So what is the impact of this? Because that's what I'm missing in all of this presentation, and even when I read through all of this paperwork, it's very unclear what the final impact is going to be in terms of what we'll visibly see as these changes are implemented. So what is the impact of removing that line item from this particular portion of the UDO?
With that, you're dealing with a zero lot line subdivision, which is allowing you internal lots to get closer. You're still gonna have that buffer requirement and your normal setback requirement. So if my subdivision abuts your existing subdivision, and I'm new and I'm going 0 lot line, I still have to meet the perimeter setbacks. In rear yard, that's 35 feet. I can't get closer to your subdivision than that 35-foot rear yard setback.
So there's no intrusion for an existing neighborhood. This just governs how a new development might be built.
Correct.
And this is only residential. It has no impact in terms of commercial development. So if I have a residence and then a commercial development built beside that residence, does this impact that, or is this solely residential?
Even with the commercial, you're still gonna have a buffer requirement between the two and the standard setback that's in place.
So you can't have the 0 lot line?
Right, the 0 lot line would not affect your existing subdivision.
Okay. And then, when we're talking about the TA 19-055, use-specific buffering, special use permit requirement. So that's talking about vehicles. So this is what was explained to me upstairs. This is applicable to a commercial business that abuts or is near a residential neighborhood. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay, so when this was initially implemented, and you might not be able to speak to this, but maybe somebody can, what was the intended purpose of having that come before council for a special use? Was it to make sure that whatever the business wasn't going to adversely affect whatever the residence was that it was coming near?
I would say yes.
So does it really matter what the size of the vehicle is, or is it more important what the nature of the business is?
I think the task force and staff felt that vehicles such as this or pizza delivery, where you're using a personal vehicle, would not be an intrusion on a single-family residential subdivision versus a delivery service that utilizes large trucks.
So an Ashley Furniture, for example, may have 2 delivery trucks, whereas a Pizza Hut might have 10 delivery vehicles, delivery cars. So I ask, is it the nature of the business that would have the impact on the community, or is it the nature of the size of the vehicle, the delivery vehicle?
I would say it would be a combination, because you're gonna get a lot more noise from a vehicle like this than a personal vehicle, or if I work there and I just park my truck back there, my personal vehicle back there, it's not gonna be making as much noise as a delivery service, such as the Ashley Furniture or some type of vehicle of that capacity.
And then finally, when we talk about TA 19-056, so what I'm understanding this to be saying is that if a commercial built business is built in proximity to a residential community, this is where this is applicable. Is that correct?
Correct.
So what I'm hearing is, whereas at this particular point, if it's a residence and then a commercial building comes in, the commercial building is required to fit into the aesthetic of the residential community. But this would remove that requirement, provided that there's a particular buffer in place?
Correct.
So you could essentially have something that's quite jarring and does not necessarily fit in with the aesthetic of the community because a buffer is in place, which would change.
Well, you're still gonna have the facade requirements that are required for commercial development.
Which could be quite different than those that are required for a residential development.
Right.
So, for example, one of the commercial properties, and I was sharing this with the city manager, one of the commercial properties along Ramsey Street is a new car wash, which I think is very visibly jarring and would not be something that I would necessarily want. And I'm sure that this particular use would not necessarily be near a residence, but just to give some semblance of what that could potentially look like, it's a red, white, and blue building. And if the neighborhood is brick, or if the neighborhood is vinyl siding and muted tones, and then you have a commercial building come in, there's no requirement now, if we pass this particular amendment, there's no requirement for that to be cohesive with the look and feel of that residential community.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you so much.
All right, so Councilman Chris, these questions
Yes,
for
sir, I
staff?
do. Down at TA 19-053 and 054, what would be the space between residences on the same street?
If it's zero lot line?
Yeah.
Well, if it's zero lot line, before you buy that property, you know what that setback is.
Yeah.
Typically, you're looking at a 5-foot setback from the property line.
Okay.
And that allows for like a maintenance easement or something like
Okay,
that
but
in between.
here's where I'm going, just to get some clarity here. I think we're building now at 30 or 35 feet between.
No, that would be a
single-
rear yard setback.
Huh?
Rear yard setback. Are you talking about side yard setback or
Talking
rear?
about side yard
On a
right
side
now.
yard?
Yeah,
If it's non-zero lot line, typically you're looking at 10 feet to
10
the
feet.
property line.
okay.
If it's zero lot line, we normally see a building envelope of
Okay.
5 feet to the property line.
35 on the rear yard. When I got houses that on my street we're building, and then on the street behind, and the two backyards abut, what will be the distance of those yards?
That would be up to the developer. It would be 35 feet unless it's zero lot line to zero lot line. Then
If
they
it's-
could reduce that setback.
So if what we're doing here is if it's zero lot line, it could mean much smaller backyards, is that right?
Correct. And that
To give
zero
'em-
lot line, this section of the code will not take zero lot line out of the ordinance.
Okay. Next question, I'm up to TA 19-045. I'm looking at the wording and it threw me for a loop. It said, rather than the current requirement for providing sidewalks on one half of the cul-de-sac. I don't ever remember voting, sitting here in this seat for 12 years, voting for one half of a cul-de-sac to have sidewalk. Where'd this language come from? I don't know, because I don't ever remember voting for one half of a cul-de-sac to have sidewalks. And then I'm looking at your picture here on the proposed. I notice you're stopping the sidewalk after you come around the cul-de-sac.
That's because that's an undeveloped lot right here. So the builder, I'm assuming in this case, has not put the sidewalk in because they want to put the sidewalk in after the house.
That makes sense.
Right.
That
So
makes
that's
all
why
the sense
there's
in
no
the world.
sidewalk in this.
But I'm here, Mr. Mayor, not Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, I asked you the question last week about a development, and I didn't get an answer back yet. But I'm good with these, I'm just trying to get some clarity, because people ask me questions, and I gotta have the answers. Thank you, sir.
All right, Councilman Culleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to go back to TA 044 on the driveways. Just a couple of questions for clarity as well. I understand the widening of that in order to accommodate additional vehicles for a larger garage. That would be the intent, I assume, there in the driveway portion. However, why are we bringing it closer to the street? Is that just to allow, you can't bring the garage closer to the street. We're only talking about the driveway surface being closer to the street where it
Correct.
fans
The
out.
beginning, you can fan out to widen it to allow more parking for your vehicles.
Okay, so bringing that more maneuverability in order to get into those garage structures is the
Right.
purpose of that, bringing it closer?
Right, so
Is-
you could start your taper earlier here versus this is now 12 feet to the pavement where it was 18.
Okay, and we're just talking driveway there, I wanted to clarify that. And then, next on that, is there any type of waiver, special use, et cetera, that can be applied for should somebody wish to park a larger vehicle in there that may not fit in the 24 feet or something like that? Like
There
an
is a-
RV or something of that
There's
nature?
a neighborhood compatibility permit, and I believe that goes to the planning commission.
And that's a case-by-case basis they would
Correct.
apply for that. And what is the mechanism when they apply that? Is that a special use?
It's just
Or
neighborhood
compatibility?
permit.
It's just compatibility permit, okay. That's all I have, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Before I go to Councilman Dawkins, I like to. Yeah, I guess we have to have a public hearing.
Where's my name?
I didn't see your light, sir. Do you have a
You
question?
turned my light off.
Yeah, Councilman Wright has a question. Then we'll open up the public hearing.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Can you come back? I got two questions. TA 050, approval by the manager for the buffers. Help me to understand how the manager will make a decision on different types of environmental buffers. Is his guidance within the UDO, or that's something that the manager will determine on his own?
In the Unified Development Ordinance, city manager is city manager or his designee, so that would be handled by the Technical Review Committee.
So it kind of bothers me a little bit that it would just be in the hands of the city manager. And city managers change from year, that kind of thing. So what would determine that person's ability to make a decision? It could be different in different.
Well, again, that would be delegated to the Technical Review Committee for a staff
Okay, so the
review.
city manager will delegate it to
City
the
manager
committee.
in the UDO means
Okay.
staff.
Okay, I got you. All right, that cleared that up. The next question I have, my final question, is the zero lot line. Could you go back to the zero lot line picture that you had right there? When you talking about zero lot lines, help me out with this. When you're looking at those two two residential areas, does that mean that the contractor could build a house right on the lot line, like you're seeing here in the spaces between two residential houses or closer, because you said that will make more room for them to put more houses? What is the length between those houses? What is the standard? Because, I mean, that looks really close when you're looking at it from here.
Well, again,
I wouldn't want nobody that close to my house.
this is taken from the tax maps of Cumberland County, and it's not a survey. That's just for tax purposes, so you wouldn't feel comfortable saying, well, this is the exact property line. But zero lot line does allow a house to get closer to the property line.
How close?
Well, no. You can get as close as you want. That's how a townhouse is built, or a condominium is
Close
zero
as
lot
you
line.
want?
Right. But then you have to build a firewall if you're within 3 feet of the property line. So again, you're not removing this section is not removing zero lot line from the ordinance. It's not putting it in there. Zero lot line is in a totally different section of the code.
Right.
It's already allowed and used on a regular basis by the developers.
Mm-hmm. So you can put a house as close as you want, long as you can squeeze through.
If you if you make it a fire rated wall, if you're close enough to the property line.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
And to be clear, these are for new developments. This doesn't mean that you're taking.
Right.
This is not asking us to take this restriction from a neighborhood that has this in place. This is for new neighborhoods. So a person would have the right to come in, see this development under construction, and say whether I choose to live this close to my neighbor or not.
Right.
Correct.
When you're buying into a zero lot line subdivision, you realize what you're getting
Right,
into.
right. Okay. All right. So, Madam Clerk, at this time, we will open the public hearing. Please call your first speaker.
Yes, sir. We have 4 speakers for this item. The first speaker is Mr. Ralph Huff. Okay. Our second speaker is Mr. John Macaulay.
Yeah, they do.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, and council. Thanks for giving us the opportunity. My name's John McCauley. I live at 2054 Middle Road. I'm a lifelong resident of Fayetteville. Went to school here, grew up here, own businesses here, and love this town. I was honored to be asked to serve on the UDO task force, and we spent the better part of a year working on it, not just at the biweekly meetings, and some of you were there with us, but research in between, reading documents, spending a lot of time. As you've seen tonight, these are pretty in-depth matters, and we really dug in and got down to the details, and we had staff join us a lot of late hours when they were probably ready to be home. My point is that none of this was done lightheartedly or flippantly. The proposals that we've made are done because we researched it, and many of us have been living with this ordinance for the good parts and the bad parts for almost a decade now. And from that experience, we've learned things. And this was a part of adapting the changes in lifestyle. Zero lot line's an example. I don't want a zero lot line house, but my son does. Many people want to live in that environment now, and we were trying to make adjustments for developments that accommodate changes in people's lifestyle. You're also trying to accommodate the ability of people to utilize their land affordably. And it's not just about developers, and we use this term developer all the time. These are citizens. A lot of them are small business owners, family people who own land, and this land is a way that they feed their families or educate their children. And so the changes that we made really were not aimed at large-scale developments. They were really aimed more at trying to make land more usable in areas where the lots are smaller and where people may not have the resources to do all that in a perfect world we'd like for people to do. We could make an ordinance today that everybody that buys a car in Fayetteville has to buy a Rolls Royce. And if everybody went and bought a Rolls Royce when they bought a new car, we'd have prettier streets. Everything would look better. Problem is, not everybody in Fayetteville can afford a Rolls Royce. And if we did that, then we'd have everybody fixing up their old cars for eternity like they do in Cuba. And so what we have to find is a balance between what we want, what would be perfect, and what is affordable in a less than perfect world. And so we tried to strike that balance, and I hope you'll give all these recommendations your approval.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Laurie Epler.
Good evening.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I would like to take just a minute. We have several people out in the audience who have come tonight to support these amendments that you see before you. If I could ask them to stand at this time. Thank you. And I'm gonna try and clarify, having sat on that task force, I don't think I missed a meeting. I don't think I missed a minute of a meeting. I want to clarify some of your questions that you've had tonight and the conversations that we had at the task force. As far as amendment number 44, those front yard setbacks, based on the UDO setbacks and the UDO zoning, our front yard setbacks have decreased in our residential zoning areas. Because that front yard setback has decreased, that means that garage is already closer to the street. And Mr. Colleton, that's why we wanted to be able to widen that driveway so that cars can get into that garage easier. Back when the UDO was done too, you didn't see that many 3-car garages. We do have a lot of 3-car garages now, and it's hard to get those cars in those garages when you got a narrow driveway. That was our goal on that one. With regards to number 5, Mr. Crisp, to clarify something for you, if you don't remember voting for that, it's probably because the cul-de-sac length and not having to put a sidewalk all the way around the cul-de-sac, those are cul-de-sacs only 500 feet and shorter. If you had a cul-de-sac that was only 500, 300, 400 feet long, the ordinance today says you only have to put a sidewalk halfway around that cul-de-sac. That made no sense. If you're going to have sidewalks in a neighborhood, put them around all the cul-de-sacs. So that may be why that doesn't stick out in your mind. With regards to number 48, the 25% more landscaping on outparcels, between outparcels, that any of us can remember, staff included as far as development community too, that has never been enforced. It was left over from the previous ordinance. It was just something that didn't get taken out. And for you, Ms. Waddell, because I know that's important to you, I'll just let you know that out parcels in a shopping center have to meet the same landscape requirements any other commercial lot does. This isn't decreasing that at all. The way the ordinance is written today, they have to do 25% more landscaping than is required of any other site. We didn't think that was fair, and it wasn't intended to be that way to begin with. As far as number 52, with the transitional standards and the buffer, this is not going to affect setbacks of houses at all. What this does is, as of today, the UDO says if I build a zero lot line subdivision next to your subdivision, which is not zero lot line, I have to put a 10-foot buffer in between the two subdivisions. It's not affecting the setbacks. You're still going to have your same setbacks that you had before. It's just that you've got single-family residential next to single-family residential. Why do we have to put a buffer in between the two? That's clarification on those things, and I hope it helps. I'll be glad to answer any more questions, but my time is up.
Thank you.
Mayor, our final speaker is Mr. Boz Lloyd. Okay, then we have no further speakers, Mayor.
All right, that will close the public hearing. Councilman Dawkins.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'm going to defer to Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, council. Because there were a couple of questions, I'm going to eliminate, I would like to make a motion that we accept the recommendations of the text amendments that were proposed tonight for the UDO code. But I would like to do a single up and down vote for two of them because of Ms. Waddell, item 55 and 56. So I make a motion that we approve all of the text amendment items in one vote except for item text amendment 55 and text amendment 56, that we can do those in individual single votes.
Well, I had a second on via light, Councilman Art. So there's a motion by Councilman Bear to approve with the exception of text amendments 55 and 56. They'll be taken on a separate action. Second by Councilmember Art. Any discussion on the motion on the floor? Councilmember Waddell?
Thank you. City Manager Hewitt, I have a question that you might be able to answer for me, or Mr. Freeman. If I own a commercial lot, and I'm speaking to number 056, if I own a lot and I want to build something.
Yeah. Well, this
is about
discussion.
it is about the motion. My question is about the motion.
Okay.
I want to make sure.
Go ahead, ma'am.
If I own a lot and I decide that I want to build something commercial on it, do I have a recourse of action if we are to pass these amendments, or if we don't pass a particular amendment? So if 056 doesn't pass, do I have a recourse of action whereby I can come back to the council or to the city manager and ask for an exception?
So before we get into that, since those are going to be taken for separate votes, let me, if the discussion is about this particular motion that's on the floor, which is everything with the exception of 55 and 6, then we'll continue that discussion. If not, we need to call for question on the votes, y'all. So, Ms. Waddell, did you have questions about this?
I don't necessarily, I guess some clarification would be needed. Are you saying that I'll be able to ask my questions when we come to number 56?
Right, because that's not a part
Okay,
of
that's
it.
fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay, all right. Any other discussion on the motion that's on the floor to approve with the exception of items 55 and 6? All right, council, was that a question? The vote? Okay. Hit me on the trigger finger there. Mr. All right, Councilman Chris? I'm ready for you. Okay. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous, so that motion carries. Now, Councilmember Dawkins?
Mr. Mayor, I'll take them one at a time. Motion to accept text amendment 55.
All right, there's a second by Councilmember Hare via the light. And now I'll clear the board for questions. I think, Ms. Waddell, did you have a question?
Sure. So with 55, the same question is applicable. If this does not pass, is there a recourse of action for someone who wants to develop a property that falls under this scope whereby they can ask for an exception if this does not pass?
There's no variance process for design standards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Can you all hit your lights again? I did a reset. If you have other questions on the motions on the floor for 55. All right. No further discussion. Council, I look to you for your votes. This motion. Madam Clerk, that motion is 9-1. Those voting in favor, Councilman Chris, Cullington, Art, Wright, Colvin, Moan, Jensen, Hare, and Dawkins. Voting in opposition, Councilmember Waddell. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Councilman Dawkins, I think Councilman Hare hit his.
No, sir, that's the
Okay,
second.
that's, okay, all right. Councilman. Okay, all right. There's a motion by Councilmember Dawkins. There's a second by Councilmember Hare. All right. Any discussion on item 56? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes. All right, Madam Clerk, that motion is 9-1. Those voting in favor, Councilman Crisp, Cullington, Art, Wright, Colvin, Moan, Jensen, Hare, and Dawkins. Voting in opposition, Councilmember Waddell. All right, motion's carried.
Thanks, Council. Thank you.
So just before we complete that, I'd just like to thank the members of the UDO committee, Councilman Dawkins and Hare, as well as the citizens who worked hard and sacrificed your time for it. This is a work in progress, and we know that the ordinance is not perfect. It does have its good points. You all saw and pointed out some things of that were kind of administratively inconsistent. But as we saw tonight, this is a very complicated discussion to have, and so we appreciate your commitment to that. And Council, Mr. Manager, I know the next item is administrative hearings, which you typically read that on our own, but you did have a presentation for one of them. Is that correct?
No, sir. If this is administrative reports, we got direction, I think, from council during your agenda meeting to schedule that for a work session.
All right, so council entertain a motion to adjourn. All right.